Hi everybody, I'm Dave from Mahala Astrology. I'm here in this video to talk about the Indra Natal report. For people that join the community, part of the package of reports that they get is going to include this particular report. And so this particular report is a fairly detailed report. It has a bunch of cool sections in it that the other reports don't have. When we go look at the description for this particular report, I'll go ahead and read it for you here. This interpretation of the birth chart by Bob Mulligan is very comprehensive and in-depth. Here is another example of an extremely thorough scientific analysis. For the interpretation of the planet conjunction and ascendant, there is a different interpretations if the planet is on the 12th house or in the first house side of the ascendant. There's also whether the planet is affected, has a hard aspect or not. The Indra report is about 30 to 35 pages in length. So this is about double what we would typically see in the other reports. But that is their overview of it. Let's actually go look at a sample report. And so to do that, we're going to go to the website. And because this is in the package of the one-year subscription, we'll click here to view the sample reports that are in that collection. And we'll scroll down to find the Indra report. Here is a sample of the Indra report. And with this sample, what we're generally expecting to see with any natal report is going to be the ascendant information. It's going to be the sun, the moon, and any key aspects in all the planets for a yearly or for a full lifetime type of influence. And so here, the first thing that they talk about is slightly different. They're going to talk about it in a little bit more general phase here. So it's the structure and intent of your life. So what he's done here is he's done the hemispheres with the chart. So the chart, being a round chart, you have the left and right hemispheres, and you have the up and lower, top and bottom hemispheres. And so they go into actually talking about that. And so most of your planets are below the horizon for this particular chart. And the quadrants, they break them up here. And then they go, not only do they break those up, those four, but then they go look at the elements. So there's also fire, water, earth, and air associated with every chart. And so they break it down here and they say, well, you got about 20% in fire, you've got an abundance in earth, you have no air. This is actually really good to see. Generally, charts will show just what you have, not what you don't have. And so here they're pointing out the fact that you don't have any planets in the air, yet they're going to tell you a little bit about that. What does that mean? Why is it that you have none there? This covers it, as I like to see that. Rather than telling you just what you have, it's telling you what is missing also. So we'll scroll through that, come down to modes. So if you haven't dealt with modes, which we haven't really seen in all the other charts. So again, we've broken it up into four. So you've got the cross throughout the chart. In order to look at this, the three modes that they're going to talk about here are going to be the cardinal, fixed, and mutable. If you haven't dealt with that, brief overview here. The cardinal, so basically it's the opposite sign and the 90-degree sign. So in this case, it would be Aries, Cancer, Libra, and in this case, Capricorn. So we've got the four houses here that make that cross. So the first cross is the cardinal one. The second one is the fixed, which would be rotated slightly. The next one is immutable. So it's basically the planets that fall in this cross at that rotation in your chart. So we'll go back and look at that. So here, they're actually going to cover this. They've got cardinal configuration, you've got fixed configuration, you've got mutable. And so those three different configurations have different meanings. The planets that are in them are going to affect those slightly differently. And then we get on to the next one, which is the ascendant and the midheaven. So here we have Cancer rising for this particular sample report. And we go into the aspects of the ascendant, which we expect to find in every natal report. This one goes a little bit farther and talks about the midheaven. So here, what is directly above in the chart? And it says Aries is directly above. And then what are the aspects associated with that? Just like you would do with the ascendant. So it's almost as if you've got two key points. And if you look back at this chart, notice the arrow here at the midheaven, arrow at the ascendant, two key areas for people. And then we're going to keep on going. This section right here. So conjunctions. So throughout the following sections, it's going to talk about planets that are virtually on top of each other, that are in close proximity, where they would basically have a complementary or an amplification energy. And so this talks about looking for the sun in this one and looking for the moon in this one, and a little bit about what to look for with it. And then we're going to go look for that. So we'll scroll down and see section 2, the sun. And they've defined these with keywords to show how the major theme is of what they're talking about. Your ego. And then we look a little bit farther. Here is, let's see, the sun conjunct that they were talking about earlier. And then we go a little bit farther, and you're going to find that we have the moon. And as with a lot of other natal charts, you're going to find it's the same order. So we're going to scroll through that, come down to Mercury. Now, I'm going to page down in this. So Mercury, we're getting all the planets, we're getting the configurations here. It is actually really thorough because there's a lot of information here. Neptune, go a little bit farther. We want to get through Pluto. So get through Pluto. Pluto section's done. And a lot of charts will end right there. That's all the farther they go. This one goes a little bit farther. We have a summation section. So your uniqueness. The major planetary aspect is sextile. So they're going to go into other aspects of the overall feeling of your chart. Your easiest areas. So it's going to talk about, section B here talks about where you find things easy or things in life that are easy for you. And then persistent difficulties, things that show up in your chart that may cause difficulties in your life, or areas that you generally find as being conflicts or areas that you have to work harder at. And then we have growth aspect. Did I miss a section here? Persistent difficulties, C, go to D. D is growth aspect. So this is, how do you learn? What is it that you've chosen to come your way to help you get through and move forward, make growth in your life? And then there's declinations. So this is actually kind of cool that I haven't seen in any other reports other than the harmonic report, which deals with it slightly differently. Here, they're talking about it as being when you have the horizon and you draw two planets up that are equal distance, those are considered parallel. And so they talk about them here. What does it mean to be parallel? Mercury, parallel Neptune. Moon, contra parallel Mercury. So we get to go into those aspects here. And then at the very bottom of the report in section F, they talk about a little bit about the karmic stuff, specifically talking about the North Node. So they come back to the North Node and they cover a little bit about it here, and that's it. But overall, when you think about this particular page for the sample report is 29 pages long. And I'm pleasantly surprised by the fact that they've gone in and not only have they covered the main sections in detail, but they've covered side sections that are overall a little bit more far-reaching ideas. And so when you think about that, unlike a forecast, unlike a transit that deals with what's going to happen next week and 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, this one needs to get life experiences, the life look. So you want to look at the chart, these general areas, what's going to stick with you your whole life. And then you'll have, as you fine-tune those and look at the forecast reports or your solar return or your lunar return, you'll see aspects that get amplified when you get there in your life. So anyway, this particular report, I like the fact that it's done really thorough, and this is just one sample of one of the reports that we're going to provide for you on the Mahala's Astrology community. And so share it with a friend, talk about a friend, come join the community. It's a reasonable price for the amount of information that you're going to get. Anyway, if you have any questions about it, let me know. We haven't signed this up for purchase yet, so at least give me your email, let me know that you're interested, and as soon as I gather enough people on the email list, I will provide the purchase button so we can open up the reports and let this program start to develop. Anyway, talk to you soon.